think there's a chance we go through that, maybe all the way as high as about 28.5. But again, for me at least, I'm in the position of where whether it's 25.5 or 28.5, I'm not thinking that we get through that high level. Now, I will show this. I do have a level that I'm watching. If we take out this level and confirm, then I would tend to agree with you on that, right? So if you connect the high from 69,000 here to this high, notice how this line is right around 30,000 right now. It will slope down right into this 28,000 area probably in about a month or so, right? Now, if we somehow get above that, then that is a breakout on the charts. That would get my attention. And I think that would be the one case where I would say, okay, now I actually kind of do believe that the bottom is in, and now we could go back to 69, 70, 80, 100,000 on Bitcoin. But until then, we're still in a pretty steep downtrend. And really, if you look at this move, even if we go up to 25, 26, or even 28, that's all an inside bar bearish pattern from this move down, or better yet, even from this move down. And the last thing I'll just mention is that I still have a measured move where you take this high here to this low here, right? And then you had this consolidation pattern, right? So we have this kind of sideways channel. And then if you take that same distance from here and you extend it out, you actually get right around 12,000. So this line is the same as this line, and that gives me that kind of bottom area. So again, anything can happen, and that's the beauty of investing and why it's so freaking fun. I mean, one of the reasons why I was starting to talk up a bounce, so everyone knows I called for 20,000 when we were at 69,000. One of the reasons, I mean, there were chart signals, but there was also just so much crazy bullishness that it was almost the easy way to go, which was just say, okay, well, if everyone's bullish, then it's not going to go that way. And same thing when we were below the 2017 highs of 19.5 or so, you know, everyone was just like doom and gloom. And it's like, okay, well, now we're due for a bounce. We're oversold. They've run the stops, which were at 19.5, which was a 2017 high. It made sense that we would see a bounce there. So the question is, as we rally, like when we see 26, 28, like you're saying, which I think we do see, do we then see everyone start to say the bottom's in, which then the contrarian view would be back to the downside? Of course. And I think there still is some more downside. Now, I am still currently long Bitcoin. I did take some profits today. FTT, I pulled my profits there. Avalanche, I took some profits there, but I still have some Ethereum long. I still have some Bitcoin long. I still have some Cardano, Polkadot, Chainlink. So I still have some exposure as we ride this wave. But again, it's not a long-term play for me. This is a shorter-term play up into these resistance levels. Once we get there, I'll be looking to take profits and basically rinse and repeat. And that's what I've done for so long. It's worked out very well. So basically, beautiful breakout here on Bitcoin. You can see this level here, which is 21.8, which was the level that it basically was hammering against, going all the way really back to when it broke down and made the lowest point back in June, right? So we got the close yesterday. We were getting continuation, which looks like it's confirming the move. And it looks to me like we'll head up to this 25.5 level. That's the pivot low from the Terra Luna collapse. You still have people that are willing to take the risk by putting money in those. And I think that money has to be wiped out, you know. So I think that, you know, you may, you know, maybe the top 50 survive, maybe, you know, who knows, you know, and there will be new ones that have great use cases that come out, just like new companies come out all the time. But I want to see that period where anyone speculating on the 1,001th cryptocurrency by market cap, that needs to be wiped out. That can't be in the system anymore unless there's a real use case to it. And people will argue there is, right? Oh, this one is about cats, or this one's about dogs, or like, you know, and for me, I'm just like, really, you know, we're in the real world here where you actually need to have some sort of use case that's legitimate. Okay. So I'll be the first to admit I'm not always right? I mean, I've made plenty of bad calls in my career. I just happen to be right more than I'm wrong. I mean, that's just the essence of it. So I mean, you just try to do that, and then you'll be fine in your investing career. So we saw PPI numbers 11%. We saw CPI numbers like 9.1 or 9.2%. And people are saying, and this is why, by the way, the market has rallied as well, is that, okay, well, those are massively, ridiculously high inflation numbers, but we've seen copper collapse, nickel collapse, oil collapse, you know, lumber collapse. So it's very apparent that inflation should be coming down now in the next few readings. And if inflation is coming down and people are saying, okay, well, the Fed's going to somehow magically get this inflation back in Pandora's box and get it to 2%, Well, then you're right. Then the markets are going to rip and everyone wants risk on, which is why crypto's going up, why stocks are going up. But then why would you hold gold, right? The issue would be is, even though I do think the Fed, like you said, is going to essentially stop hiking by later this year and probably even start easing in 2023. The question is, why are they doing that? If you see the NASDAQ starting to really collapse down, and I don't think the NASDAQ's bottomed by any stretch, I think it's got to go down 40-50% at minimum, then what you're saying is that you'll see a pivot in Bitcoin where it starts to strengthen when the NASDAQ and the stocks actually go down, which I actually agree eventually that happens. Yeah. I just don't know if this is the time frame where that happens. So I think that, it's definitely a possibility. If there's one thing, just like Game of Thrones, if there's one thing I know nothing, kind of, nothing Jon Snow, right? You have to respect the charts, that they're the ones that are always right, and you just don't know. But for me, I'd be amazingly surprised if all of a sudden it's a new bull run and here we go to the upside. My few things that bother me about the potential low being in is that we still haven't seen enough disruption in the overall crypto market. So you go to coins, they've all been discounted, some of them 95%, some of them 90%. Even Ethereum is down significantly, although the bounce has been just absolutely awesome on Ethereum. But to me, I look at that sector and I'm like, how can this many coins still exist? And if this is the bottom and now we're headed up, how does that work? How do we have so many coins in the system at that point? So for me, that's one of the issues. And also looking back and comparing it to the .com era, you haven't seen that full capitulation. I mean, we did see fear when we were below the 2017 highs, but we didn't see that all out, like, throw your hands up in the air, crypto's over kind of mentality, which is usually what notes the bottom. In fact, 2018, that was very similar to what we saw. We saw this kind of, oh my goodness, Bitcoin no more kind of thought, and then that was the bottom at 3,500. So that's an issue. And then my other, if inflation's going away in the perfect world, which I don't think it will, but that's what the thought process is, I think that's why you're seeing near-term downside in gold. I think what the market will have to do is start to realize that inflation's not really going away. It may come down from 11 or 9% to 5 or 4%, but then it's going to be sticky for the next 10 years at 4 to 5%. And that eventually you're going to see an economy that weakens, and the Fed can't, like everyone's fooling themselves if they think the Fed can all of a sudden print trillions and trillions of dollars again in the next recession to get us out of it with inflation at 4 to 5%. Because guess what? Then you're going to see inflation at 15 or 20%. One of my cases, again, for why the NASDAQ, S&P are still headed a lot lower. And while unfortunately, I think crypto may have that one more dump as well. So right now you have inflation high, unemployment low, right? And I'm trying to get this in the camera. But as inflation comes down, the economy, because they're tightening, unemployment's going to go up, right? And when you get unemployment high enough, they're going to say, oh my goodness, we now need to stimulate to bring down unemployment. And then this is going to go up. So it's going to be like this, back and forth.